what's up? Tonight we're gonna work on one of my favorites. This is the long wallet. I'm gonna hand stitch this thing. You can hand stitch it. You can see the sewing machine onto the back. You can use that if you like, but today we're doing a hand stitch long wallet. These are one of my favorites. These are one of the first patterns I made by myself, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So it's a very simple pattern. I figured it would be a great video just to show the easy steps. Tonight, part one, just working on getting the pieces out. It's a relatively straightforward plan. I'm using vegetable tan leather, and I choose personal preference for the exterior. I choose a 5.5 ounce vegetable tan leather. I also choose that for one of the interior panels. And then the other side, because I'm stacking a few more pieces, I will actually be using a 3.5 ounce vegetable tan leather. That way it kind of just balances things out and creates a nice even wallet for you to have though. I'm actually gonna change, this is a design I did early on. I don't really like it, so I'm actually gonna change it, and we're just gonna have here, and we're gonna kind of make some rounded edges right here and just kind of make a sleeve for this to open up for using the bills in there. And then this is actually one that I didn't like the spacing, so it just sits around in my shop. For this project, all you need, or for part one at least, to get things going, a ruler. T-square is super helpful, just to make sure that you're getting everything straightened out. Handy dandy, whatever you're using to cut. I use my DeWalt. I don't leave home without it. I always saw those videos, all those fancy knives people use, but that's all I need for today. A ruler, some 5.5 ounce leather if you prefer, and 3.5 ounce if you prefer. If you only have 4, whatever. Use it whatever you want to make it out of. 5.5 for all of it might be a little too thick. So that's why I went down a little bit on the interior. But for the exterior, I like a nice sharp shell. So let's do it. First, what we're gonna do, all you gotta do is cut some rectangles. 7 1/4, that is the total length here of this. And then it's gonna be 7 1/4 by 6 5/8. Okay, so you just gotta cut out a rectangle. So that's one, that's the exterior. So that one can be a heavier leather. And it's important when you're doing a project to choose the right piece of leather. So when you're cutting that rectangle, kind of visualize what's on there. You're looking at the leather that you're about to cut and saying, okay, do I like this little mark? Do I like that little mark? Should I add this mark? Should I take this mark out? And just give yourself kind of give yourself an idea about where it'll be sitting on the wallet when you make it. So is it going to be on the front cover, on the back, or where's it going to sit? Will be any kind of issues? And then also look at the underneath to just see if there's any issues in there, anything that might cause some problems in the future. So first rectangle, 7 1/4 by 6 5/8. You just need one of those. Second, we're going to do 6 5/8 by 3 1/4. Now we're going to need 2 of these, but they're both going to be different sizes. One of them is going to be the 5 ounce or 5.5 ounce. The other is going to be the 3.5 ounce. And so again, it's 6 5/8 by 3 1/4, and you can cut one of each. And so basically, there's a panel up underneath here. This one's thinner leather, and this one is thicker. You don't have to do it that way. That's just how this one is built. So that's going to be your preference. And then from there, we're going to do a 6 5/8. As you can see, they're all going to line up because it's going to be this right here by 2 3/4. And we're actually going to cut, those are going to be the little card holders in there. So those will be a little bit, you can see this has a little angle on it, and it touches right at this one right here. And so that'll be 2 3/4, again, by the 6 5/8, 2 3/4. And you're going to need 2 of those at the thinner leather, so that 3.5. And then from there, again, we'll work everything out from there. But those are all the rectangles you need right now. So I'll give you some time. Make sure you're cutting straight lines, or that thing's gonna be jaggedy. So let's get it straight. But I'll give you some time to go cut those things out, and that should be your plan for us to get going. All right, I love picking out my project leather and where it's gonna go and everything. I found some just awesome pieces to cut. So at this point, we need our rectangles, right? So this is gonna be my exterior. This is the thickest leather I'll use, 5.5 ounce. And this is the 7 1/4 by 6 5/8. Okay, so this is your exterior shell. You can kind of put that one to the side for now. We'll have to work with that a little bit later. From there, you should have 2 at 6 5/8 by 3 1/4. One of them is the 5 1/2 ounce. The other is the 3 1/2 ounce. And so the one on the left, because it's the only piece that's going to be there, it's going to be this interior here. We just want something a little bit heftier in this side to give it some bulk in there. I like them a little bit chunkier on that side. And so that's why you have two different, same sizes, just different thicknesses of leather. So this will go underneath the card slots on the other side. So make sure you keep that in mind and separate them. You can actually take we'll actually work with this one first, the left side, and we'll deal with that first. And so the next two you have, these are the smaller ones at 6 5/8 and 2 3/4. And again, this is the 3 1/2 ounce leather. That'll be making the card sleeves here in just a minute. But what we're going to start with is the left interior portion. So this is going to be the flap that we make to hold the money on the side. And so you can put bills and things and slide them right in there. I did change that design a little bit just to allow some more freedom and allow some of that. I didn't like it as much when it was both of them were stitched on either side and you couldn't get in there as easy. So this helps slide that leather right in there. But what we're going to do here is you can get creative with this too. So as far as the design, it's really up to you. What I did is basically cut a little triangle across here and then rounded the edges just to kind of make a little sleeve. So I'll show you what I did there and how I did that. But first I'm gonna, so I cut it like that. So what I did, I came from, I can't help myself, 4 1/2 inches up, I drew a dot, and then I came over 3 1/2 centimeters. Okay, so 4 1/2 up, 3 1/2 centimeters over, and all I did was just cut a straight line from there. So that's what I did with my magic trick here. So that's all that's going to be. And as far as rounding these edges, we're going to work on the edges, and I'll do the edges before I actually attach it. But you can, little nugget here, if you take like a nickel or something that has a smooth edge like that, a nickel works the best because it's thick and it has a smooth edge. You can put it on there and kind of cut around that edge to create that round edge. You can also just kind of figure it out. Just cut a bunch of little tiny straight lines and it does. And also when we go to finish them, I'm actually gonna touch it up with some sandpaper and some gum trag, so it kind of rounds it off anyway. So I did kind of just work with it and finagle those. But again, 4 1/2 up or here, and then 3 1/2 centimeters here, and then just cut your straight line and you'll have a little extra triangle you can figure out what to do with later. From there, this will be the 3 1/2 ounce underneath panel that's going to go on the opposite side. So this will be the 6 5/8 by 3 1/4, same as this. It's just going to be thinner. So this is the 3 1/2 ounce side. And what we're going to do here, I got a couple markings on here. We're going to find the center point. Fun way to do that if you don't want to measure and do fractions is line it up, pinch it, you got your center point. So we got our center point here. We're gonna come down on either edge. We're gonna come in, and you can see I got, if you want, I got these little heat erasing pens. They work great. If you want to just take a little scratching awl or something, just make a little dot and that's your cutting line, that's fine too. But this was just kind of to show you. I usually do it with the scratching awl, but we're gonna go 15 centimeters off of each side. And then once we find that center point, we're actually gonna come down 12 centimeters right here. All right, and all we're gonna do is from that dot, we're gonna cut a straight line here and cut a straight line there. And that's gonna give us that interior pocket that kind of gives us this shape. Now, if you prefer to just have a straight one, just cut that sucker. It's already cut, that's fine. This is just something I like to add when I made this design. So it kind of comes in close to here. And I think that gives it a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more flair, but I want to do something a little different. So again, you can be flexible with it, but that's the one I'm making at this time. So again, 12 from the center point and then 15 centimeters from each edge. And all I'm doing is gonna get that edge right in that center and right on that edge. And always make sure you have that sharp razor. The fellow that purchased this one, actually, he didn't like the other, the interior here, this one, and I changed it, and he ended up buying one. So I'm gonna keep everything else the same, but I actually, I'm 100% in line with him there. I don't really like how I used to do that, but I still offer them in my shop. I just don't necessarily like them. So this is the design that you'll get here. So at that point, you have your two interior sleeves, and they'll basically lay like this and like this, and there you go. So that's our start there. Now we're going to get to cutting the card holders, which is all right. So now what we have is we have two. Already cheated and started. We have two of these at 6 5/8 by 2 3/4, and this again is our thinner leather. I have a 3.5 ounce here. So what we're gonna do is you basically want to start with a 3-inch piece here. So we're gonna measure down, so it'll be 2 3/4 across, and what we're gonna do is measure down 3. That's why it's so important early on to get all your measurements straight and make sure it's all even. So everything kind of puts together that puzzle very nicely towards the end. So we're going to get a 3-inch square here, and you can actually get 4 of them. Or not a 3-inch square, I'm sorry. 2 3/4 by 3-inch. And so, now from this point, let me show you again my example here. This is just a design. Again, you can be flexible with that. If you want it to go straight across, that's fine. If you want it to dip down straight, however you want it to hold these cards is totally fine. I actually had an old wallet pattern, and so I just kind of steal this slope here that I use. But again, you can just kind of draw whatever you want, as long as it is 3 inches here. Whatever you do from here on out, it doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, you don't want it too low. But yeah, as far as your design, you can cut straight, you can do round, you could do whatever, zigzags, sawtooth, however you want that to look, is totally fine. So I already have one cut here, but this is a 3-inch piece here. And then from there, if everything is square and right, you can just line up your pieces. That might make it a little bit easier on you. All right, so again, for this one, I have a cheat sheet, so I'm going to use this. I've already cut one out, and that's basically how it comes. So I got 3 inches here, it's 2 3/4 wide, and I just did this little slope, and all I did was trace that onto the other one. So I didn't actually cut this one down to 3, but I traced it onto this one. So I have the same slope on all of them, and you can even do those different if you'd like. I just changed that slope, and all I'm going to do is cut that. And I'm going to repeat this process for 4 of these. I need 4 of these total for this particular project. And the reason they're 3 inches long is to give me this one again. I didn't like where it ended up. So I want the last card in here, I want it to be towards the top. So these are a little bit longer. I'm going to make these here. But so you want 4 of these, and then you'll be in business. All right, we are making our way along at this time. So now we got to make these to wear. So here's my design. Again, I have all 4 of these the exact same. And these will be my interior little card sleeves. So what you got to do from here, and this will be about the end of it, and we should be all ready to go and ready to roll here. So 7/8 is the measurement that I have found that helps me get this last card to where I want it to be. So you're going to measure down 7/8 from the top, right here. You can make, this needs to be about, if you can make this 1 centimeter, that's fine. It doesn't have to be exact though. You can just draw straight lines there. And at this point, I don't even measure it really. what I just do, I go to that 7/8 mark. I make sure I have a straight line. I did draw these just for the video, but and I'm just gonna make a slit about 1 centimeter long. You don't have to go much longer than that, but I'd say 1 centimeter at least. And from there, you're just gonna have 2 slits. And what this is gonna do from here, again, you don't have to be perfect with this at all. Keep in mind, you're gonna want something down here to stitch into the bottom of the wallet. So I usually leave myself, if you wanna just come down and, you know, leave yourself at least, let's say, at least 1 inch. I usually go a little bit heavier than that, but you want to leave yourself at least 1 inch down here to where you're going to actually stitch that into the base of that wallet, into this other panel. And so, but again, I don't even measure these at this point. I basically start at the bottom here and just kind of angle it in. And what this is going to do is give it some relief. Well, that's probably not even 1 inch. But you kind of make a little T right here. And what you're going to do here is thin this out. So you're going to skive this down on this back side. And this just takes out some of that bulk to where when you start stacking cards in there, it gives it a little bit of relief. And so that's why you make this little T pattern here. So once you have your patterns cut out, again, you're going to come down 7/8. You're going to make about 1 centimeter line straight across. And then what that line does is, as we're stacking these, we're going to be sliding that one right in there and that one right in there. That's why you want those to be really nice, and then all these edges will line up perfect. So as long as you have that centimeter in here, it doesn't necessarily matter what this looks like. So all these can be a little bit different, but again, I just kind of put a little angle on them, and that way that's going to fit real nice right from there. So you're just going to repeat that. Now you only do this on 3 of them, right? And because 1 of them is not going to be cut. So these 3 will be cut. So this one are all cut. You can almost see the indentation right here. And then this last piece will be an entire piece. So you're just going to leave that. You're only going to cut 3 of these. So keep this one out. It should be that 3 inches by 2 3/4, and just leave 1 to the side. And then you're going to cut these other 3 to match this here. So you'll need 3 like that, 1 like that. All right, so from there we got everything cut out. This thing's ready to be built up. What I usually do at this point is start to do my edge finishing. Now, I'm only gonna do it on these because these are gonna be stitched in, right? So I start to do the tops on those, and then I usually do this left side as well, because these are going to get in here like this. And once they're on here, I won't be able to, once they're on here, I won't be able to finish these edges because they're going to be sewn. They're going to be sewn into here. So I won't be able to finish the edges on here afterwards. So the inside edges, I just go ahead and do that. And then I also do the top here. So that'll be looking clean in there. You can finish your edge here, because once this is stitched in, you're not gonna be able to do it. So you can get that done now. You can finish the edges here, and then that should be it. From there, you'll be ready to go. This is just part 1. I just wanted to put it all together just so you can have everything to go, and then you can start the build from there. It's much, much easier to have everything already cut, everything already ready to go, the edge is finished and ready to go before you get started. Then we can just start piecing this thing together. Video 2 I'll put out, part 2. We'll be stitching this thing, gluing this thing, and it's going to come out fly as ever. And we'll show you how to finish this thing off. So hope that was helpful. Shoot me a message if you have any questions, and I appreciate your time.